Today I'm going to be presenting on building advanced action levels, particularly focusing on the MAG and TEQ SUM. I'm going to give you guys an overview of the MAG and TEQ SUM action levels, followed by a demonstration. And then at the end of the presentation, Jim or I will answer any questions you may have. To start, the Toxic Equivalency Sum action level is an advanced action level, which allows you to create a method analyte group where each member's results will be multiplied by the Toxic Equivalency Factor and then summed per sample. Next, the Analyte Group Sum, or MAG Sum, is an advanced action level that allows member results to be added together per sample. Both of these action level types are considered advanced in that they rely on the DT action level lookup table. This table was added in EQuIS 6.3, and all advanced action level functionality and reports are part of the standard EQuIS schema and reports library. These action levels can be established either by EDD or manually. This is the typical outcome that you can expect from using either the TEQ sum here or the MAG sum. And this is actually a crosstab that I put together. For today's demonstration portion of the presentation, I will show you guys how to set up a method analyte group in EQuIS Professional. This is key to both the TEQ and MAG sum action levels. Then I will cover setting up your action levels using an action levels EDD format and how to perform this action manually in EQuIS Professional. And then finally at the end, I will run an action level exceedance 2 with parameters report to highlight the expected output. Let me bring up EQuIS Professional. Here I'm working from EQuIS Professional 6.6.1. This is the groups GUI. In order to access this, all you have to do is click on the groups icon here. I've already set up my TEQ sum method analyte group, but I just want to go over some of the fields in the groups GUI. These are the members of this group, and I've actually selected that I only want to use a soil matrix for this particular MAG. Okay, and I've sort of started setting up my VOC MAG, which I'm going to use for my MAG sum action level. Here you can see I've set up my code, etc. And I just need to add my group members now. I've done a pretty good job of populating my RT Analyte table. So with that in mind, I know that I have information in there that will make sorting this member list, which is all from RT Analyte, much, much easier. So I want to add a field here that will allow me to filter this table better. So I'm going to click on the member section, and then I'm going to go to my column chooser, and I'm going to add Analyte type, column from RT Analyte. And you can see here that it's popped up. And now I'm going to filter my member list by BOC. And I want to select all these members at once and just drag and drop them into the groups GUI. So I'm going to select my first member, scroll all the way down to the bottom of my list. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select all these members, and then I'm just going to drag them up here and drop them. And last but not least, I'm going to save my changes. So now I've set up my VOC method analyte group for my action levels. Okay, so next, let me go back to my presentation. So next I want to show you guys how to set up an action level EDD. This requires a bit of precision. So in order to help you better understand how exactly to do this, I'm going to show you how these fields are related to EQuIS Professional from the EDD. To begin, the first tab of the Action Levels EDD is called Action Level. And here is my Action Level GUI. So this is what you would see in Professional. And this here is my EDD. So you can see I've set up my Action Level code here, my action level type here and here. And then this is very important, is that you need to include this object name. And typically I would recommend just copying and pasting this from our documentation into this field. It needs to be exact. And this basically says to the action level report that you're running that you need to refer to this additional DLL in order to start using the DT action level lookup table. The next tab of the action level EDD is called action level parameter. The information in this tab is mapped to the DT action level parameter table. And here you will list the analytes that you would like to use for your TEQ SUM action level, and it allows you to create your actual TEQ action level itself. So this is your TEQ action level right here, and these are the members of your action level. And you can see here that I've carried over my lookup source, my lookup code, and my lookup method. The lookup method for your TEQ SUM needs to be exactly this in order to indicate to the report that you need to look into the DT action level lookup table in order to find your toxic equivalency factor. And once again, this is what you would see in the action level GUI, and this is my group. And the group needs to match your TEQ SUM action level here. The final tab of the action levels EDD is the action level lookup table. This section of the EDD is mapped to DT action level lookup. In this section, you'll use the TEQ mag group as your parameter code and the CASRNs for each of your mag members for the comparison ID. Your comparison operator will indicate that the comparison value is your toxic equivalency factor. So your comparison operator must be TEF in order to indicate that it needs to look at this value here, that's your toxic equivalency factor, and it needs to be multiplied per each member. And this is what you would see in your action level GUI here when you have this populated. So here we go. I've already loaded my EDD, and you can see here that I have my members all set up. So this looks pretty good. You can see my lookup source, lookup code, lookup method. All right, so I'm just going to run my action level parameter report real fast to show you guys what you would expect to see when you run your TEQ SUM action level. So I only want to look at results associated with that Analyte group. And I'm going to check my TEQ SUM action level. All right, so you can see here, this doesn't really make quite much sense. So what I want to do is I want to show you how it's done per sample, how the addition is done. So I'm going to click up here, right click, and I'm going to say group by. And then I'm going to drag a very important column up here and drop it. And now I can expand these nodes and see my results per sample. And I think this really just highlights like how much easier it is to understand what exactly is going on and where each of these fields are associated with each sample. All right, so I want to show you guys how to manually create an advanced action level. And I'm going to be honest with you, I selected to do a manual setup of the VOC mag sum because you only have to add one field to the DT action level lookup table. So it makes it a lot simpler. If you have to add more than one row to this table, I would recommend just go ahead and using the EDD rather than doing a manual setup. Okay, so to get started, I need to populate my object name, and then I need to actually add my record here that will create the action level for my VOC mag sum. All right, so let me begin. Since this needs to be precise, and I know this works, I'm just going to copy this from my other advanced action level and just add the object name into here and click Save. And next, you'll notice that there's not going to be a record from RT Analyte that's for VOC. So I'm going to actually open up my DT action level parameter table, and I'm going to add this field. And something that helps me do this sort of action is I really want to make sure that I have another advanced action level. It's just kind of a reference to help me populate this information. So I'm going to go ahead and click to add a row to this table. Now my param code needs to match exactly the name of my mag group that I want to do this action level for. So I'm going to do VOCs. I'm just going to use this drop down for my action level code. I think an action level of, let's do 300. And I'm doing this with some air data, so I'm going to use ppm. Then I need to populate these fields. And I actually want this to match this as a placeholder. And then this has to match exactly mag sum. All right, and I'm going to save that information there. Now next, I'm going to add a field to my DT action level lookup table. And I'm doing this because I want to make sure that when my members are summed together per sample, that my non-detects have a non-detect multiplier of 0. So my non-detects will not contribute to that overall summation. As you can see here, UID is a primary key, and UIDs are very specific. They're individual to each record in the database. So you have a few options for generating this UID value. We recommend not just making it up. So we have some tools that will allow you to create your next UID value. You have the option of using the STID table. Although we realize that some users will not have access to this table, so we actually have a report that will allow you to generate your UID. Since UIDs are a one-time shot in your database, do not run this report multiple times because it will consume UIDs. So each time you run it, it will reserve that UID. And this is very helpful too, because if you have other users that are loading data at the same time as you creating this action level, it basically reserves those UIDs just for your use. Okay. So this is the get new UID value report. You can find it in the report section. And I only need one UID to create. So I'm going to go ahead and click my green arrow. And this is my new UID value. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my DT action level lookup table. I'm going to add that UID value. And then it's just a matter of copying this information. And let me just look this up real fast. It's going to complain. Oh, it turns out that that is a facility-specific table. Hold on just one second. I really want to make sure that this all matches. My lookup method is mag_sum. My parameter code, as you recall, is going to be VOCs. Okay. Now my comparison ID cannot be null, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to write for my comparison ID field VOCs again. And this comparison operator cannot be null, so I'm going to add my field in here that indicates that I want my non-detects to be multiplied by the comparison value. and that is nd_x, and I'm gonna type in 0. Let me double check that, make sure everything else is populated. All right, looks good. Gonna go ahead and save that. All right, so let me just take a quick review and make sure that I have everything that I need. All right, object name is populated. My parameter, my actual action level is set up. These fields are all populated. I got this in here. This looks good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and run my action level exceedance report. So since these are my error values, I'm just gonna select error. I'm gonna go ahead and just include that VOC group there. And then finally, I'm gonna select my VOC mag sum action level and run the report. Oh, it looks like I have a missing unit conversion. Let me just exclude that really fast, my error sampling group. All right, perfect. Now, once again, you're gonna look at this and you're gonna say, this doesn't really make much sense because you see you have all your exceedances down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do another group by. Drag that there and open that node. So you can see here, these are my non-detects. These are considered 0 values. They've been multiplied by 0, and then all of my detects are summed together, create this value, and then my action level of 300 ppm is applied. And this, for this particular sample, this would be considered an exceedance. All right, so a review of today's demonstration. I showed you guys how to set up a method analyte group in the group's GUI. Did a little bit of a mapping demonstration of the action level EDD for an advanced action level lookup. And then I showed you guys how to manually create an advanced action level. And then finally, we ran the action level report and just displayed it with our action levels. One of the benefits of this process is that this is a one-time setup and it allows you to review and evaluate your TEQ and Analyte group sum action levels quickly and very efficiently. For more information, definitely go check out our documentation. Here are some helpful links. This is pretty much what I use to help me get started with this process. Once again, thank you for watching part 2 of Building Advanced Action Levels Office Hours series. And I will take any questions you may have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isarna. I do have a question from Ping, and the question is ND_X the default code for non-detects in that comparison value?
It is, yes. That is a hard-coded value, and so it needs to match exactly.
Excellent. And that's in the documentation as well, right?
Yes, it is.
Good deal. I don't see other questions in the questions pane, so while I'm waiting for anyone to get their question typed up, I will go ahead and put in the chat window the link to next week's office hour, which is on just general lookup action levels, and that's going to be at the regular office hour time of 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'm waiting to see if anybody is frantically typing or if anybody's got their hands up. I don't see any. All right, so if there aren't any more questions, I want to thank you again, Isarna, for presenting today, and thanks, Jim, for being on hand in case there were some tough questions. Thanks so much, everyone, for attending, and we hope to see you next week.